purpose. Any athlete knows this word, but it's always different depending on who you ask.
By just doing what I know how to do.
You're actually the reason why that I got into politics.
You're looking at the current king, Ariel. You're in the...
Who are you and why? The two biggest questions any athlete face, and often the flame pushing them on. But if the foundation of who you are is centered on that one single thing, what happens when the fire inside you burns out?
First time in his career, Mike Tyson hits the canvas. Stunning! John Gamo has pulled the upset.
Ryan Garcia tasting defeat for the first time in paralyzing fashion.
I've recently watched 100 Meters. You know, the anime movie about running. No, not that one. Yeah, that one. And there's this one character that really stuck to me, not because of his drive, nor his talent, but because of the shortcoming he found himself in. Togashi. If there were a word to perfectly describe him, a young prodigy in the 100 meters event, untouchable and born to win, it would be rather a painful one. Complacent. The movie finds our hero simply being content with being fast ever since he was born. He acknowledges his talent, but that's it. This misplaced confidence then betrays him as the movie eventually follows him as a slow, washed, and regretful older athlete who could have only wished he had done more. But why do we even feel complacent? Often a vice plaguing any form of discipline, be it on the platform, in school, in relationships, or even simply in yourself. This human emotion of comfort and satisfaction is the normal response to progress. Neurologically, it's our brain's way of saying, you've done enough. But beneath that comfort lies the biological reason for stagnation. Somewhere along the line, there would be a day where you'd say, I've put in enough work. After all, your body is telling you to conserve energy for when you actually have to try. But when would that be? The common trend here is that it often comes too late, since by the time we've locked in to be great again, we've already fallen. In any sport, or in fact in anything in life, the more you do something, the more your brain registers it as a simple fact of life. Why else would we mindlessly wake up, go and eat, brush our teeth, and take a bath despite our body craving to go back to sleep every time we wake up in the morning? The same goes for training in powerlifting, weightlifting, or in any sport. Before your meet, you'd have this idea in your mind. I want to be the best. So you put in the work, day in and day out, and eventually you get your first rush of dopamine through getting better by every passing training block. The sight of progress fuels you, since with every rep, you get closer to the image of victory you have in your mind. Yes, you want to be the strongest, but how long can you hold on to that flame? After all, to get good at something the sport requires, it'll take endless repetition of that movement again and again, up until it becomes second nature. This is where the paradoxical conundrum begins. If our body is biologically wired to conserve energy if things become second nature, what then drives us to be greater at something we have been taught to automate? Complacency is an evolutionary perk that happens when your brain starts running on autopilot. In neuroscience, complacency reflects the brain's tendency to automate repeated behaviors through the basal ganglia, a network responsible for habit formation and motor control. When a task becomes familiar, the prefrontal cortex, which handles deliberate thought, reduces its activity, and the striatum within the basal ganglia takes over. Now, since we now know that complacency is more of a brain thing, we could approach it in a way that counters it through conscious effort. Nicomachean Ethics is Aristotle's classic work on how to live a good life. He argues that true happiness, or eudaimonia, comes from practicing virtue, not chasing pleasure or wealth. Virtues are habits formed through conscious, repeated actions, and they represent a balance between extremes, or what we call the golden mean. Again, the same theme finds itself to us: habits. We then look into more works on what habit really is, and we then find that a habit is a repeated action that becomes automatic through practice. Aristotle described it as a hexis, a stable disposition of character formed by doing something consistently. Habits make us efficient because they shift tasks from conscious effort to routine, freeing mental energy for other things. Now you might be saying, okay, so if habit isn't bad since it's a good foundation for a good life, then why should we fear it? Again, the same conflicting theme finds us. No great person became great simply because they put in the work. Anyone can put in the work, but it takes a certain discipline to become great at it. Statistically speaking, in open powerlifting, there are over 900,000 recorded powerlifters on their database as of the recording of this video. In the world of track and field, even more so. Basketball and football, probably in the millions. Each and every single one of them, without a doubt, has put in the work, registered their names in the respective federations, and has competed in the respective states or countries or locality. Do you think that these people are lazy? Of course not. They would not have pushed themselves to go in their competitions if they weren't willing to put in the work for themselves. Do you think that all these people deserve to be the greatest? No. The greatest and the strongest have been monikers reserved for the one true person who can hold the title best. It's not a title simply given to anyone who could put in the work, but it's a title given to someone who could outwork. Again, everyone can form a habit, but not everyone can be obsessed with that habit. Arete, Aristotle's concept of excellence through virtue. Aristotle taught that greatness isn't a single act or talent that burns brightly and dies after the grand display of skill. Excellence is the result of consistent and deliberate practice guided by purpose. Again, habit alone can only get you so far, but arete transforms that skill into passion driven by both discipline and intention. It's the philosophy that reminds us that true mastery isn't about doing more. It's about doing better every time.
There's no failure in sports. You know, there's good days, bad days. Some days you are able to be successful, some days you're not.
Arete demands awareness in every repetition, meaning virtue in every pursuit. It's the quiet fire that keeps burning long after the applause fades because it's fueled not by recognition, but by purpose. After all, if every athlete were in it for the limelight, they would have retired long after they made it to the top. At the core of it all, a sport is one of the purest forms of self-expression and gratitude for one's skill. The pursuit of something larger than life would always play a role in the sport, be it a grand chase of desiring to become better or the simple pursuit of finding your limit and going beyond it. The sport and your performance does not end when you reach your goal. It only ends when you want it to end. You get to choose how your story closes. Perfection is a state of mind, and greatness is a product of passion. This is where habits stop, and at the crossroads, you're given a choice to either become greater or simply become comfortable in familiarity. Of course, you can never brush aside the delicate balance of performing and resting, since burning out would always be a factor. But that's already a story for another day. The pursuit is a mindset, and if you fall short of it, you get another choice as well. Stand up or stay down. Because greatness isn't born from comfort, it's forged in persistence.
I want to make myself a contender.
It's the quiet decision to rise again when no one's watching.
Do you want to be a world champion?
Germans King Gammo
To refine what others repeat,
going
and to chase excellence, not for recognition, but for fulfillment.
Everything I've done for 88 years has come crushing at a moment.
Arete reminds us that perfection isn't about never failing. It's about never ceasing to grow. Besides, fire doesn't die when it burns at its brightest. So, get up. After all, what greater purpose is there in life than to live it?